Chuffing heck, it's a scary one. It's only Halloween Special. I recorded this yesterday and I nearly pooed my pants when I heard it. I don't like it. Let's get back to normal. Yeah, it's the Casimir Engine pooing his pants on the Casimir Engine Show podcast. And I've got a wonky connector. It's not ca-ca-ca, it's crap tonight.
You're listening to the
That's me.
Ca-ca-ca.
Ca-ca-ca.
Hasn't that been done to death? Isn't that so 90s?
You think so?
It's the Casimir Engine. It's not ca-ca-ca. And all the tracks tonight have got something to do with Halloween. And this one's called Spirits. It's by Audio Solar. Kicking stuff off with Stephen Newton on vocals. He's off of Glider.
There's a crown here that you know will never fail. I want you to understand how it all began. And all that power never changed hands. I hope you never want to play. There's nobody there, there's no one in heaven. There's nobody there, there's no one in heaven. That secret someone that never reached you. The stars that you could see were in the skew. Never cried, I never tried to say I won't see the spirits again. There's nobody there, there's no one in heaven. There's nobody there, there's no one in heaven. There's nobody there, there's no one in heaven. There's nobody there, there's no one in heaven.
That's Audio Solar with Stephen Newton on vocals. Top tunage with the Casimir Engine. Let's get some more scary. Gotta have some scary shiz on tonight. I'm like doing 97 things all at the same time. I'm expecting an email through from some musos, but we seem to be having a problem on that one. And I can't handle this. It's all a bit. Let's tell you what. Let's go back to our normal stuff, and it is. That's better. I feel more at home now. I have definitely got a wonky socket. It keeps on cutting out on one channel. I sound like a proper kind of presenter type person, don't I? No, you don't, Kaz. I tell you what, Pete Wallace only asked me today. He's only about 4'6". So he stood on a chair and he says, "Here, Kaz, what's on the show tonight?" I said, "Tell you what, Wally. I tell you what's on the show. I'm looking for the best record. I'm going to make a list on the Casimir Engine Show podcast website. Yeah, we're starting a new website, right? But also on the Facebook page. Because don't forget, you can get in touch with the Casimir Engine Show podcast on @Casimir Podcast on Twitter and @Casimir Podcast on Facebook. Or you search for the Casimir Engine Show in the People, Places and Things section on your favourite Facebook page. Actually, it should be a favourite already, shouldn't it? So, yeah, I want to make up a list of the best record shops. I met someone famous this week, or this weekend just gone. I met someone well famous, if you're of an age. More worldwide chat. We're trying to get, like, super international on the show. I've got a story about a client of mine in my grown-up proper job who, he told me a story, and then, well, I'll explain later. And also I want to tell you about a foreign visitor when I was at the exhibition last week as well. It was something else that I forgot to cover off last week. But we need some more music. This is Goodnight Mr. Frankenstein by The Disappearer. You're listening to the Casimir Engine Show podcast. It's a Halloween special. That's a Disappearer with Goodnight, Mr. Frankenstein. Epic stuff. That's the Disappearer. That's my new Bezzy, Pedro. He's from Lisbon, and he's a guitarist in X Thieves. We've played them before on the show. And it's from an EP called Disappearer. It's on Bandcamp. I'll post all the details up as usual. Here, what'd you play that for anyway, Kaz? Goodnight, Mr. Frankenstein. I tell you why. Because there's only a festival going off in Matlock Bath, and not many people know, but I'm reading this, right? In her iconic Gothic tale, Mary Shelley's infamous scientist Victor Frankenstein marvels at the wondrous cave in Matlock Bath. And there's a 9-day festival going off in Matlock Bath, and the next thing coming up is on the 3rd of November. We got Frankenstein, a 1931 film starring Boris Karloff. That's in the Grey Room on Saturday, 3rd of November. That sounds ace. Right, so, getting away from that horror-y thing just for a minute, because it scares the living bejesus out of me. Right, so, yeah, I'm looking for the best record shops. I want to know, first of all, what your record shop of choice was when you was a wee nipper. Mine was Gilbert's in Long Eaton. Anybody remember Gilbert's? Or was it Hudson's in Chesney or in Matlock? Anyway, we've got a list. This is a list so far. We've got Spinderella in Matlock. We've got Loafers in Halifax. We've got Vanishing Point Records in Chesterfield. We've got Tallbird in Chesterfield. We've got Rough Trade in Notts. We've got Forever Records in Notts. And we've got BPM in Derby. So I want to know if you've got an undercover, right, an undercover record shop that you know of that we should know about, because we like them their vinyls and cassettes. So we got another cassette the other day, you know. I got analog, electronic, whatever since year dot. Got it on cassette from Rough Trade. Give us some more music. This is Delerium Trees. Is Delirium scary? I think it is.
I'm Barry Scott.
That's the Delerium Trees, and they're from Turriff in Scotland. Gonna have to get Google Maps out on that one. I don't think I know where Turriff is. Anyway, they're from Turriff in Scotland. That's Delerium Trees. That's from the EP Climbing Walls. It's on Spotify. That you can find them on Facebook. They're everywhere. It's got kind of an 80s kind of vibe to it, you know, with that piano ding-ding, 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 you know what I mean? I like it a lot. So, come on then, Kaz. Who did you meet who was famous? Oni, the man himself, the extremely famous Bernie Clifton. Yeah, Bernie Clifton. Okay, yeah, the bloke who used to write the ostrich. He used to write the ostrich, used to ride the ostrich. You know, he used to come on stage and the ostrich would be all over, not the emu. Everybody thought that on Saturday when I met him, everybody was expecting Rod Hull and his emu. But he went and fell off the roof, didn't he? So he's no longer with us. And Bernie Clifton very much is with us. Anyway, so I went to see him. Mrs. Engine was in Darlydale Brass Band, and they did a last night at the proms thing, and Bernie was the compere. And I thought, oh no, this is just not going to be a good night, is it? And when Bernie said, look, meet me at the back, not to me, he wasn't like just saying it to me, but he said to all the audience, if you want to meet me at the back, I've got a CD, signed photograph, hey, and Crackerjack pens. What? Yeah, I got all of that and a couple of selfies. 10 quid. Best 10 quid I've spent in ages. Yeah, so I'm looking now. If you go onto the Casimir Engine Show podcast Facebook page, you'll see my photograph of Bernie Clifton pinned up on my wall riding his ostrich. He was on everything when I was a kid. Everything. Anyway, I just realised how little, right, how little comedy travels in time. It wasn't, yeah. Oh, crikey, I've just pressed something. What did I press then? Hang on a minute. Oh, I know what I just pressed. I pressed me mouse. I leant on it because I got my onesie on, so I'm all like baggy at the moment. I got my Chewbacca onesie on. Yeah, there'll be a picture of that up in a minute on Facebook too. It's one for the ladies out there. Anyway, we need some more music. And we got from Brizzy. Hey, good day, Ripper Bonza. We got Bonza track from that Ripper band. Foreign Technology. And this is a track called Darker Days. Found him. Oh, switch it down when you talk. I found him on Twitter. Top musician. Everything's unsigned on the Casimir Engine Show podcast. Foreign Technology. That's Stephen Donahue with Darker Days. He's from Brisbane. It's the Darker Days EP. It's available on Bandcamp. And that's a bit spesh or what? You're listening to the Casimir Engine Show podcast. Hey, that's me talking. You can get in touch with the show on Twitter at Casimir Podcast, or one word. And on Facebook using the short code at Casimir Podcast, or search for the Casimir Engine Show podcast in the People, Places and Things section. What a lazy arse. Can't even be bothered to do my own talking now. I may as well just record the whole lot. I do record the whole lot, but I'm doing it live. What else we got? Oh, so I met Bernie Clifton, right? Hey, the interesting thing about Bernie Clifton was he said that he'll do his one-man show anywhere. So what do you reckon we try and get him down the pavilion to do his one-man show? And he tells all about his life in the 1970s on TV. Now, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? So let me know if you could come. Right, what else have we got? Oh, I tell you what, I'm going to save that one for in a bit. But so we're at the exhibition the other day. So last weekend I had to work all weekend. It was a long old week, believe me. Anyway, I was getting a coffee for a customer. Hold on, let me drag that back. And there was a guy from Italy in front of me who had been conned beyond conned. Right, so he's standing there and he says, "Can I have a cup of coffee, please?" And no doubt he was upset because it was coming out of the machine, but there you go. It wasn't handcrafted, it was bean to cup, I think it's called. God, look, listen to Cat just because you've had a chat with Full Moon Coffee Company. You reckon you're some kind of barista or something. Anyway, so Mr. Italy, he's standing there and he gets a load of old pound coins out. And the girl behind the counter, it was in Birmingham, she said, "Can't use those, you know." So he says, "Why not?" He said, "Well, they've all been discontinued, haven't they?" So he puffs some pants a bit, gets a fiver out, flipping it's only an old one again, innit? He said, "You can't use those either." A tenner, it's an old one. Anyway, it works out that his mate in Italy, right, had sold him all of his old coinage, all of his old English coinage. He was absolutely fuming. Let's have a bit of Sombre Moon. This is Hereafter and it's the Fused remix. Sombre Moon. And here's the mixtape quiz for this week. All you've got to do is tweet, text or Facebook message me with the name of the vocalist from Sombre Moon. Right, what's this all about then, Kaz? It's a horror story for Halloween. I had to record this because I kept on making mistakes. So, here's a scary story for Halloween. Welcome, I've done this. I've done this 3 times now. Welcome to the Casimir Engine Show Halloween Special. A story to help you celebrate All Hallows Eve. In this story, Elliot Davis recounts the torturous tale of the last live gibbeting in England. Gibbeting is a particularly inhuman form of execution from the old world that strikes me as one of the worst possible ways to die. It involves being suspended outdoors in a body-hugging cage which utterly restricts all movement. There you're left to the mercy of the crows and the cold. All who were put into a gibbet would leave a skeleton, the flesh having fallen from their bones, their tastiest bits having long since become carrion, perhaps whilst they still drew breath. Not pleasant. We know of the last person to ever have been gibbeted alive. It happened in 1830s in Baslow, directly east of the historic Chatsworth House in Derbyshire. Our story concerns a vagrant who, cold, tired, hungry and desperate, called into a thatched cottage in Baslow begging for food. The lady of the house had just finished making breakfast, so the intoxicating scent of fried bacon filled the air. But she told the vagrant in no uncertain terms that there was no food for him. Don't worry, you'll stop feeling sorry for this vagrant in a few seconds. Incensed, he forced his way into the house, overpowered the woman and poured the boiling fat from the bacon directly down her throat. She was scalded to death and he was promptly arrested and tried for murder. Not pleasant. He was sentenced to be hung at Gibbet Moor, just off the Baslow-Chesterfield Road, to suffer a prolonged and agonising death. As the unbearable pain of hunger, thirst, cold, exposure and muscle cramps set in, the vagrant began to scream and scream and scream. He screamed so loud and so long into the night that he woke the Duke of Devonshire, who was at the time staying at the nearby Chatsworth House. The Duke was so disturbed by the screams that he enacted laws to prohibit the awful act of gibbeting. The vagrant was thus the last person ever to die by gibbeting in Britain. His name is unfortunately lost forever, but some say that his screams can still be heard up at Gibbet Moor. In 1992, a hiker by the name of Jane Townsend reported to have heard these unearthly, horrifying screams. Yet this sad tale apparently created 2 ghosts. The vagrant's uncharitable and unfortunate victim reportedly sits at the bedside in the master bedroom of her cottage. The late Edgar Osborne, a Chatsworth House archivist, and I've done that 5 times now, even claimed to have been soothed by this spirit when bedridden by illness. Is she giving the charity which, when refused in her life, caused her death? This undeniable tragic tale left its mark on the land in the form of one spirit condemned to endless torment, another obliged to offer endless charity, and above all, in the ultimate prohibition of the inhuman practice of gibbeting. The gibbet itself can be seen in the Vernon Gatehouse in Derby. They put a rubber skeleton in there, that sounds rubbish, which sort of makes the whole thing look a tad ridiculous, but still not pleasant. So there you go, that's a scary, scary true story. And the really horrible part of it is that we take Herbie the studio dog on Gibbet Moor for a walk. It actually exists, and it's not far from Casimir HQ.
You in my dust. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting my time. I've cut myself off from this lead. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting my time. The past is over. Let me go be free. What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to do with all of this? What are you trying to do? I am nothing to you, so stop harassing me with your bullshit.
You're listening to the Casimir Engine Show podcast, and it's great.
You're listening to Casimir Engine Show podcast. It's only Winch from Matlock.
Did it make a difference where you did stand or why you were there? No man or God could call it a victory in the end. Show me a man Take satisfaction in burning witches, you lunatic. Just like a splinter, searching for soft skin to penetrate. I am the stone, I am the leveler, I am blind. Listen to the wind, she says, carry you away. Screaming with the trees again, lying in the way.
How awesome is that? That's Hocus Pocus by Winch. They're from Matlock in Derbyshire, in the UK, the centre of the universe.
You're listening to the Casimir Engine Show podcast.
Right, so we ain't got very long left. So, reminder of the quiz, right? The question this week is, give me the name of Sombre Moon, right? That's S-O-M-B-R-E, second word, moon, as in the thing that shines in the sky. If you name the vocalist of Sombre Moon, you win a mixtape made with my fairest hands on a C90, I think it is. And it's all vinyl. It's nothing off Spotify or anything like that. It's proper vinyl stuff. Right, and what do you win? So you win a mixtape. You also win a badge. We got new badges. We got red and we got silver. A few people have had them. Wallace had one today. Triple Black Amoeba John's got one. Nigel's got one. Grawlix has got one. So there's a few badges left. And to throw in for this special occasion, because it's Halloween, there's only a Crackerjack pen off of Bernie Clifton going available. So all you got to do, Sombre Moon's vocalist. And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was, what food do you have on bonfire night? We used to always have like a special meal type thing, you know? Well, it wasn't like a meal thing. It was like fast food type stuff. 1, 2, 3, 4. And yeah, bonfire night and Halloween's all of a sudden. Halloween's massive this year. Everybody's getting dressed up and posting up pictures of themselves with all that their fancy makeup, like The Walking Dead and stuff like that all over it. So what food do you have on bonfire night and what food do you have on Halloween night? We always used to have on bonfire night because it wasn't near Goose Fair time in Nottingham. Right, Goose Fair is a big fair that we have in Nottingham. If you don't live around these parts, it's a massive, massive fair. Goes back to medieval times. But we also used to have mushy peas, vinegar and mint sauce. Oh, not good for me these days though. next day, oof, off limits. You know what I mean? And we used to have them bonfire toffee things, who are like big, massive lollies that were made out in those silver trays with a stick in it. You know what I mean? It was like something you get a jam tart in, but a lot shallower. You know? The man in the Lebanon's going, I don't know what you're talking about. And then up north, they have a thing called black peas. And I really don't know what that is. So if anybody lives up north and they can tell us what black peas is, I'll give them a try and I'll eat them on air. How about that? You listen to the Daredevil Casimir Engine Show podcast. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, 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 ding. Hey, he's only getting a second outing tonight. It's Stephen Newton from Glider. It's holy. Hey, this is for Jules. She thinks this is mega.
Taking my time, running around, shouting too soft, whispering too loud, breaking away, dragging it back, holding too tight, and leaving it slack. Holy, tell me you're holy. Play with my feelings to make me believe in your life. Your conscience, a voice that you cannot deny. Always too close, and always too far. Telling your tale with a nail in my heart. Convincing with words and sorrowful lies. Scarred and hurt, deceiving with lies. Holy, tell me you're holy. Play with my feelings to make me believe in your lies. Holy, don't say that you're holy. Denotes from your conscience a voice that you cannot deny.
Holy by Glider with Stephen Newton on vocals. And before that we had Bad Mary from New York with Creeper. That was from the album We Could Have Saved the World. Holy, tell me you're holy. Oh, tell me you're holy. Holy, tell me you're holy. You've been listening to the Casimir Engine Show Halloween podcast special. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you for all your downloads and all your listens and all your likes and all your contributions on social medias. I'll be back next week, hopefully with a band playing in the background.
The Casimir Engine, reliably mediocre.